guys, welcome back to my channel, The Wealthy Mindset. It's yours truly, Money Making Mitch. And as usual guys, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research. Never listen to a random stranger on YouTube. I can say whatever I want. It's up to you to research if Money Making Mitch is telling the truth or not. And when you read it for yourself, that's when you actually get confidence into why we're holding a future giant. Of course, from the last earnings report, the shorts are waking up, the people are waking up, even the uneducated investors are starting to wake up and realize that we're not just making revenue from selling EVs. Finally, it's happening, and NIO has been holding its ground around $5.80. We've crossed 89 million swaps. I'm going to put the link to the charge map, or I should call it the battery swap map, so you guys can click on it, save it to your phone, and you see live people doing swaps in China. It's pretty awesome. And it reminds you of how much revenue we'll be making this year as we build out another 1,000 swap stations in China alone. We're not counting Europe just yet. Now, let's start with this. NIO was last trading at $5.80. The 52-week low is $5.38. The 52-week high is $16.18. As a disclaimer, I hold 2,260 shares at $3.53 on Charles Schwab. And on SoFi, I now hold 831 shares. Yes, I bought 30 more on Friday at $7.66. And on my traditional IRA account, I now hold 900 shares. Yes, I upped it. It was 873. I brought it up to 900 shares at $7.30. It has started, guys. The Chinese are buying back NIO. I saw a post on Facebook where someone took pictures in China of Chinese who had bought NIO older models are now trading them in. And guess where they're trading them into, guys? Remember that company I spoke about, UXIN, Ocean? They are trading them in there. Remember, they are now authorized by NIO to sell, to refurbish. So they're trading them in and they're getting new NIOs. Now, the difference with that is, do you think that the Chinese are going to be trading in their old Teslas when the battery is worthless and the car is worth zero? They can't trade it in. To get a new Tesla, knowing that it didn't hold any resale value for them, and then their neighbor will be saying to them, "Hey, Junli, I got 30,000 back for my NIO. How much did you get for your Tesla?" Poor Jingli would have to bend his head in shame because he just threw away $36,000 4, 5, 6 years ago. So let's start off with some comments, and then we'll get on to more of the meat of the subject. I have to give a shout out to Peter Klausner from Canada. My brother from Canada said, "For Americans wanting an affordable EV, in my opinion, their only chance is with a Chinese EV. The most expensive part of an EV is the battery and the IRA. U.S. Inflation Reduction Act puts in stipulations on battery materials and not having materials sourced from regions other than the U.S. Essentially becomes the Inflation Act. The U.S. is so behind in battery materials and battery supply chain that these infrastructures and costs to build up to become competitive will cost money, and these costs will be passed on to the U.S. consumers." Remember, I was speaking about certain things like that. They want us, the current administration is destroying the economy, but then they're still telling you should buy junk for very expensive. So for non-US EV makers, is protectionism to the core, he says. Very, very true. Also, as a result, the US EV market will be much less competitive and more expensive. So we'll end up like the way Cuba is, where we stay in the dark ages compared to China and the rest of the world that adopt Chinese innovation. I keep saying that. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but Tesla's share price keeps falling and it will keep falling. No, I'm not bashing. I'm just telling you what's happening and what's getting ready to happen unless they change their business model. The US EV market will be much less competitive and more expensive, and favoring US-based EV players. The consumer losses because the Chinese make the best EVs. Even their god Elon Musk said that. He said that if they do not keep the trade barriers in place, the illegal trade barriers, out of fear, that the Chinese EV industry will destroy most of the manufacturers in the West, the car manufacturers in the West. He said they are not good, they are incredibly good. Also, I want to give a shout out to Illumi Brian. Analysts get paid a lot to put out BS, bias info and predictions. That is why Warren Buffett is the best investor, because he doesn't listen to any of them on Wall Street stuff. This is a mic drop moment. This comment is a mic drop moment. Illumi Brian, I tip my hat to you, my brother, because he is on point. The Warren Buffett, the guy that I have a lot of respect for, the Oracle of Omaha, never listened to the analysts because he knows they continually lie, spread propaganda. Let me give you guys a classic example. Palantir. They bash Palantir. Even though I don't have stocks in this company, I missed them out in the $7 range. I'm not saying it's still not a good time to buy. I'm just saying. And the analysts bash them, give them a sell rating, blah, blah, blah. Now guess what they're doing? Now the analysts are having to come around and change their tune. But they knew in the $7 range, when they were bashing it all the way down, what they were doing so that the Wall Street can continue to buy, their cronies, their buddies, the big institutions like BlackRock, etc., etc. It's the same game, and that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, don't hate the player, hate the game. As the analysts continue to bash NIO and squeeze the price down, God is giving us an opportunity to keep buying. As you guys see, I keep buying. You guys keep buying, and I tip my hat to you all for that. Even if it's 1 share, 2 share, 3, whatever you can afford every payday, and hold it from the shorts. And put a price tag rating of $80, $100 to sell so that the shorts can't get it. You see, there's one, his name is Ahmed Chowdhury. He keeps coming on my channel at all different angles because now he is pooping in his pants. He see the time is coming. Another comment by RRDAWI. Hold the line, lions, he said. Hold the line. Thank you, MMM. Can you elaborate on the process of giving back to the grid? Is NIO just pulling power off grid and going back to the grid? Any plans or association with solar panel farms? So from what I gather, in terms of solar panel farms, probably not yet, but they did sign a deal with a huge energy company in China, if not the largest. I don't know if you guys remember, I did an article on that. So that will be in effect where NIO will be helping them, and they will be helping NIO to scale out to give back more to the grid. So yes, we will be giving back a lot. We will be building out battery stations that will just be giving to the grid. I'm telling you guys, the amount of money we're getting ready to make is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, in terms of if we're pulling from the grid and giving back, what we're doing is, because we have solar panels on our battery swap stations, we are charging our batteries using solar power, and then when the batteries are full, especially when the batteries are full, the solar panels are giving to the grid constantly. That's how we generated that much revenue from our last earning calls, apart from other things, the phones, etc., etc. From Reuters, Rai Strong, another one of my subscribers, shout out to you. US urges allies to tighten China's access to chip technology, Bloomberg reports. But Bloomberg said it may get a backfire because Chinese nationals may be pissed off and stay away from foreign car companies in China, the biggest automobile market in the world. So I said it and I'll say it again. Elon Musk, Tesla only became profitable when they entered the Chinese market. I want you to wrap your head around that. The amount of people in China compared to America. The middle class in China is now larger than the middle class in America. Yes, you heard that right. While the feds are encouraging companies to halt pay increase in America and the cost of living keeps skyrocketing, there are almost no middle class left in America. This is why Europe American companies, European companies, everyone is going into China to sell their products. So I say it again, we don't need to come to America to become profitable, and China is the most competitive market in the world. And as NEO goes into the BRICS nations, as the BRICS nations continue to trade with each other and raise their economy and get away from sanctions and suppression, all of them will benefit. So I want you guys to take a look at this video. Remember, this is a little long video. I'm sorry guys, but it's Saturday. I want you guys, remember I always say, talk about the propaganda and how we continuously spew lies using Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, etc., etc. Well, China called them out on it and they had to apologize. And this is just the beginning. Take a look at this clip, guys, and then we'll continue with this video.
完成基本法第23条立法是香港特区应当履行的宪制责任，也是实现香港长治久安和一国两制行稳致远的必然要求，得到香港社会的广泛支持。今日刊宪的23条立法草案充分表明，这一立法平衡兼顾维护国家安全和保障权利自由及经济发展，将为香港高质量发展和高水平开放保驾护航，为一国两制行稳致远提供坚实的保障。彭博社的虚假报道引发了公众的误解和恐慌，对有关立法工作造成不良影响，是严重的错误。香港特区政府就此作出了严正声明，外交部驻港特派员公署也对该社提出了严正交涉。彭博社撤回和更正了原报道，在新报道中承认此前报道有误，并对此深表歉意，表示将在今后的报道中采取更严谨的态度，防止类似的问题再次出现。我们希望所有的媒体都能够以此为鉴，客观公正开展涉港涉华报道，维护自身的公信力。
All right, guys, welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed that. This is just an example. They continuously lie, and China is starting to call them out on it. Now, listen to this. NEO began deliveries of its 2024 model year vehicles after starting to take custom orders late last month. It's a beautiful thing. So this is why King William Lee said we're going to have more deliveries now than we did. And we all knew this because of the Chinese holidays, etc., etc. Deliveries of the 2024 ES8, EC7, ES6, EC6 and ET5 touring began in several cities on China on March 8, the electric vehicle maker said in a post published yesterday on its mobile app. Show cars of these updated models have been gradually arriving at NEO stores, while a limited number of 2023 models are still available and have short-term purchase price privileges, NEO said. So that's going to help us pump out even more sales. NEO announced on January 17 it would begin deliveries of 2024 models in March and began to offer discounts on 2023 models. So NEO has 8 2023 models, and on February 22nd, the company began accepting customer orders for 7 models. So these are the updated models, and this is what I spoke about in the beginning of this video. Of people are not just buying the new models who never had an EV before, but current customers who had the older models are trading them in and getting new models. What does that tell you? It tells you exactly what I have been saying. We're going to dominate because of superior customer service. Remember I spoke about that, guys? The founder of Merck Pharmaceuticals said it. Put the customer first and all else will follow. And the Chinese know this all too well, especially NEO. Some of us might get impatient and say, we need the sub-brand yesterday. But what we're doing is, we are ensuring that when we put out a product, we don't have massive amount of recalls like Tesla just did yet again. We're ensuring we have a superior product, superior customer service. If you are subscribed for battery as a service and you break down anywhere on the road, think of it, gentlemen, if your wife break down anywhere with a Tesla, would, or Xpeng, or any one of them, Li Auto, would these companies send out someone to rescue her? No. But King William Lee will send out the knight in shining armors to rescue them and bring them back to you. So this superior customer service is what is causing these Chinese consumers who already have a Neo and realize what an amazing superior technology that is being made in their own country. They are now trading it into UXIN and buying more. Also, before I continue with this video, I want to remind you guys, SoFi Technologies is at a great buying price yet again, and I'm going to be averaging down yet again. Cathy Woods is buying a lot. This company is facing a lot of headwinds, again, from propaganda, lies. The analyst is doing the same. They're playing the same game and card with SoFi. Seeing that SoFi became profitable for the first time and still pretending they do not know this, and giving them a very low price target, giving Wall Street and their cronies a chance to average down. Cathy Wood has been buying millions again lately, and so will I. Now, take a look at this little clip again that you guys will find very yummy for the tummy, and then I'll close out this amazing video.
When you request a taxi or a ride share in China these days, you are likely to be picked up by an electric vehicle or EV with a distinctive green license plate. When you get in one, you see all sorts of fancy gadgets. This one has a small AI robot on the dashboard that responds to your commands and sits to massage your back. And when you are running low on charge, you don't have to plug in and wait. Many stations can swap out batteries in a few minutes.
最大的区别是它的智能化吧，因为油车相对来说傻瓜了一些，然后就是为了开，电车给你不一样的体验啊，因为有各种各样的车机的功能啊，然后也很多这个多媒体啊，包括这个领航啊这些功能。
Over the past decade, the number of EVs in China has grown to more than 20 million. And now, the car maker selling the most EV globally is not Tesla, it's China's BYD. So, how did China make that happen in such a short time? Is China in the fast lane to dominate the global EV market? And most importantly, can the Chinese industry keep up the pace of rapid growth? The phrase 弯道超车, meaning to overtake on a band, is commonly used in Chinese media to describe how the country's car makers achieve dominance in the EV market. But while that sounds like sudden acceleration, China's EV boom was many years in the making. In the late 20th century, the country's auto industry was dominated by cars designed by foreign brands and manufactured through domestic joint ventures. By the early 2000s, it was clear that even after a decade of trying to catch up, developed countries still had a major lead over China when it came to internal combustion engines. Leaders in Beijing realized that they need a completely new approach to bypass the West's lead in legacy technology. In 2001, the government included the development of new energy vehicles in its 5-year plan, the government's primary national planning document. Authorities gave 880 million yuan to universities and domestic car makers to support the development of EV technologies. Then, starting from 2009, the Chinese government set up 25 pilot cities to subsidize new energy vehicles. The following year, China also started subsidizing the production of private passenger electric vehicles, sometimes by as much as 1/3 of the cost. Its goal was for each city to have 1,000 electric vehicles in operation by the end of 2012. But the results of the program were disappointing. By 2013, the nation only had 27,000 new EVs on its roads. Most of them were buses, taxis, and other public vehicles. Only about 4,400 were private passenger cars. Even with subsidies, some cities only had 150 EVs running by the time the program ended. The dismal outcome was linked to a limited range of vehicle models and early technologies that were not able to satisfy real-world operating needs.
There's no breakthrough in the sense that it's very expensive at that time. It's around 2 to 3 times higher than the conventional vehicles. Because you see, battery is very expensive.
And the infrastructure needed to charge EVs was minimal. Still, authorities continued to double down on EV development, only with more refined and targeted strategies. Technological advancements allowed the government to narrow its focus on plug-in vehicles and ditch conventional hybrids. The central government's 12th five-year plan included an increased research budget for EVs, and a vow to build and sell 500,000 plug-in EVs by 2015 and 2 million by 2020. The government also committed an additional 4 billion yuan in special funding to develop new vehicle models and key components such as batteries. Authorities also expanded the number of cities taking part in the new energy vehicle pilot program from 25 to 88. But China's EV strategies were not just about subsidies and favorable government policies. In 2015, several car makers were found to have cheated the government out of some 1 billion yuan worth of subsidies. Authorities also began to realize that subsidies alone would not be enough. Officials decided that they needed a foreign catfish to push local car makers to swim faster. In 2017, Shanghai's municipal government started providing numerous incentives for US EV maker Tesla to build a factory in the city. It was a win-win arrangement. The Shanghai factory is now Tesla's most productive plant. It also put the American company's Chinese competitors under pressure to catch up with Tesla in everything from affordability to technology. But now, Tesla is trying to keep up with its Chinese counterparts such as BYD and Li Auto. Beijing also managed to refine its subsidization program. EV subsidies were linked to vehicle performance, so manufacturers got more money for cars that could travel further with less electricity. Officials also kept raising the minimum driving range that all electric vehicles had to provide before car makers could get subsidies. Meanwhile, the overall amount of subsidies offered kept shrinking year after year. The incentives are not limited to domestic car makers. Foreign players like Tesla also benefit.
The Chinese subsidies get cleared relatively early, it kicked off relatively early, and it adjusted into the latest trends to promote the technology evolution instead just focus on the volume. And of course, some other benefits, including the waiver of the purchase tax, which is still levied at 10% on the ICE cars, and on the EV that is 0.
There are also favorable licensing and road access policies for EVs in cities like Beijing and Shanghai. EVs can get a registration number right away, while traditional petrol cars must enter a lottery to get new plates. After the foundations were laid, production and sales of EVs took off in China. The rapid growth of EV production also helped turn around China's slowing auto sector. In 2023, its automobile exports surpassed Japan, making China the world's largest automobile exporter.
I think China realized that rather than continuing to put money in an old industry, maybe it was worth putting money in a new industry.
China's EV sales figures were below 1 million in 2017. By 2023, sales volume has surged to 9.5 million, with more than 70% of the vehicles made by Chinese car makers. But selling more cars does not mean making more profit. China's BYD is currently the world's largest EV maker, but its profitability remains far behind rival Tesla because of the American giant's bigger profit margins. As of the third quarter of 2023, Tesla's per-car profit was $5,330. For BYD, The figure at the time was only $1,460, and the post-COVID economic slump in China has not made things easier for car makers. Multiple Chinese auto manufacturers have been reporting plunging delivery numbers. Then in January 2023, Tesla started slashing prices in the Chinese market. Other Chinese EV makers such as BYD soon followed suit, and it quickly turned into a price war.
The acceleration performance are different, and also the electronic auto driving autonomous is different. But the basic performance, that means the driving range. Right now, the commercial electric vehicles are more or less the same. It's around 400 kilometers per charge. Then it is sufficient, actually. It's sufficient. So right now, they compete one another based on price.
For the domestic one, it is always a competition. It is so easy to have so many entrepreneurs that are willing to explore the opportunities. So the competition is always fierce. That has prevented some car makers from profiting, for sure.
Only a handful of domestic market leaders like BYD and Li Auto have been profitable enough to further cut prices to squeeze out competitors. So where do Chinese car makers look for more sales and profit? Overseas. And tapping foreign markets tops the to-do list of many Chinese car makers as they fight for their survival. However, is it that easy to sell EVs to other countries?
Manufacturers are experiencing the need of going overseas because otherwise prices will continue to come down. To me, it's about realizing that they need to increase the production overseas. And they are already on this mindset, but I think this mindset will accelerate.
But there are already many hurdles on the way. Last year, the US passed a climate bill putting a focus on breaking the Chinese supply chain for electric vehicles. The European Union also opened a year-long subsidies probe into EVs made in China last October.
Actually, the China's EV exports previously was mainly driven by the large demand in European markets. But since last year, we've seen a lot of Chinese brands trying to expand in emerging markets such as Southeastern Asia and Middle East and South America.
In March 2024, Premier Li Qiang offered strong support for China to stay on course to an EV future. He told the political elite and lawmakers at the annual two sessions that Chinese firms now account for more than 60% of the world's electric vehicle output and sales, and he vowed to boost consumption of new energy vehicles. After more than 20 years of overtaking on the ban, China's car makers are once again trying to steer their way through a critical time. It remains to be seen whether they will be able to keep up the momentum needed to keep thriving on the global stage.
Alright guys, welcome back. Now, I hope that this video and my continued research and giving you guys this information gives you guys the confidence and to not come on my channel and say I hope. In investing, there's no such thing as hope. Research, do your research and due diligence so that you understand. Look at that last clip I just showed you guys, what's going on in China and why we are investing in a company that's going to make us millionaires. We actually shouldn't be angry with the shorts and the analysts for lying and beating it down. We just now are waking up to the game, understanding the way the game is played so that we too can get a piece of the pie, something that Wall Street don't want you to do, something that the current administrations don't want you to do. No matter who's in the White House, they don't want the middle class to wake up and become investors. They want you to stay consumers. But we have woken up. On this channel, we don't have the welfare instant gratification mindset. No, sir. We have the investor mindset, the wealthy mindset. So, I hope you guys found this video to be informational. but inspirational? If so, guys, please, I keep saying it, don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you sign out. If you haven't yet subscribed, you might want to think about doing so, because in this channel, we're waking up the middle class to get a piece of the pie. And like 50 said, we have that warrior mindset where we get rich or we die trying, guys.